Hi everyone, welcome back to the Stitches and Scribbles channel. My name is Erin and welcome to our final Vlogmas episode. I kind of just wanted to do a chatty video today for you all, kind of just to wrap things up really quickly, since I know if you're watching this the day it comes out, you might be busy with family things and celebrations and stuff like that. But I also still wanted to make sure that I put out a video just to kind of tie up any loose ends and talk about the experience of Vlogmas this year and all of that good stuff. So I actually am not done with filming Vlogmas after today. I have one more video to film tonight because I got kind of behind and it worked best for me to film things out of order. So I actually haven't filmed the ambiance video that you would have seen on December 21st. That's next on my list for this evening. But yeah, I ended up, as you can tell, filming things out of order. But before we get into all of that, let's open our day 25 of our candle advent calendar. This was definitely one of my favorite things about doing Vlogmas this year, was having something fun to open every day. Where is 25? There it is. Oh, that sound. Won't miss that. This is day 25. It's a light blue candle and it's called Christmas Morning. It smells very much like mulled wine or like a simmer pot, like orange, clove, some like berry notes, all of that wonderful scent. And how appropriate that that one would be the one that you'd open on the 25th. For me, it's actually the 19th, but I like that it ended with the Christmas Morning one. So let's talk about some things that didn't go according to plan during Vlogmas this year. So first of all, I was not planning on an urgent care trip being part of my Vlogmas experience. I definitely had to adjust my plans after that as far as what I wanted to film. I originally had some more events of going out and doing stuff that I had planned. I wanted to do like a snowy nature walk with you guys and just kind of show you some fun like woodland paths, but A, it didn't snow, and B, I broke my foot. So that one didn't happen. And there were definitely some other events where I had to adjust how I filmed or just didn't film on the day of those events at all because I needed to focus on like getting from point A to point B instead of also carrying a camera with me. So I was a little disappointed in that regard and that I did have to change some of my Vlogmas plans, but I got the opportunity to vlog my urgent care trip, which was kind of a wild experience, and I'm glad I thought to film an intro that morning when we were headed to urgent care so that I could talk about it the rest of the day. But having to adjust something that was so carefully planned out is something that I always have trouble with, is changing the plans. But I think it did still work out, with the exception of I ended up missing so many days of filming that I fell behind. Not necessarily behind, but like behind where I wanted to be, because we're leaving for a trip to go see family before Christmas. So I needed to have videos done, uploaded, and edited before we left on that trip. So I definitely reached a point where I realized like I'm not going to have enough days to do that before we have to leave. And I didn't want to impose on my in-laws by trying to film there or film like actual Christmas festivities and then have to worry about editing and uploading it. So I ended up double filming, or in some cases triple filming, videos in a day, where I instead focused on a single project instead of like showing the whole day's experience for Vlogmas. And while I was kind of upset that I felt like I had to do that at the time, I think it's actually something I would consider doing again, in a much more structured way, because obviously it all depends on what my work schedule is for next year. This year I happen to be full-time teaching. My heat just kicked on. I happen to be full-time teaching during Vlogmas season, and that might not be the case next year. I just don't know this far out, but I definitely will take advantage of the days where I can do more than one like project or activity in the same day and try to get 2 vlogs out of it, so that I'm not as stressed about filming every single day for 25 days in a row. On that note, I also think that I would like to do more tutorials during Vlogmas next year. That was actually something I was really excited about this year, was releasing my 2 Christmas tree ornament tutorials, a knit one and a crochet one. And that is something I would definitely like to include in Vlogmas next year. I think when I did my first year of Vlogmas, which was last year, I was very focused on it could only be vlogs and nothing else. But I think it might work better for me in the future to kind of consider Vlogmas a, like, yes, we're releasing a video every single day during that month, but it doesn't have to be a vlog every day. Like, it can be a tutorial. It can be, like, something else that's pre-filmed, depending on what it is. And I think that's a model that I might keep for next year as far as Vlogmas goes. This is assuming that I even feel like I can do Vlogmas next year. Which if I'm full-time subbing again, I think I will have to plan that out pretty carefully if that's what I choose to do. It was definitely a rough one this year to try to get everything in. I'm still very glad I did it, but I definitely would try to have some more things pre-filmed next year in order to avoid hitting that burnout wall and to be able to give myself a break strategically throughout the Vlogmas season. There's another thing I was going to talk about that didn't go according to plan. Oh, the other thing that I ended up struggling with is I tried to save all of my, like, Christmas present knitting and crocheting, at least like a bunch of small little projects, for during Vlogmas, and I think that was also a mistake. I think I should have kept like 1 or 2 gift knits for during the Vlogmas season, but the others I definitely would have had time to do them earlier. So I think that was also kind of a mistake. I think the dice bags were manageable. That was a project I was really glad that I did during Vlogmas. But as you could see in the video that would have come out yesterday for you, I filmed it a couple days ago on my end, but trying to finish the gargoyle for a Christmas present did not really go well because I ran out of time because I had tried to film multiple videos that day. And I ended up being tired and frustrated and my hand hurt. So that is still not done as of the 19th when I'm filming this. And I will need to finish it before we leave. So that is something that I'll be working on slowly over the next couple days to avoid any pain in my hand, because I really don't want to deal with that over the festive holiday season. So next year I definitely will make sure I'm not burning myself out on the projects I'm doing. And if they're one day make type projects, like a lot of these were, I think those are something that I will pre-film for Vlogmas. So that's just something I'll have to take into account next year. Some things that I really enjoyed other than the tutorials, which I've already talked about. I really liked having an advent calendar to open on camera. That's something I've done both this year and last year when I did Vlogmas. Last year I had a wine advent calendar. This year I had a candle one. But I did find it was really hard for me to find an advent calendar that I wanted the object that was actually inside of it. And I know that some of you are probably thinking, well, the obvious answer would be to get a yarn advent calendar, but those are so expensive. And while it's something that I want to consider one day, it would have to be like the perfect advent calendar for me, which I think for me means getting a little bit of a heads up of what the colorways are going to be and not having it be a complete surprise, or having the theme be something that I'm really, really interested in order for me to justify that purchase, because I think having a yarn advent that I go into totally blind with that expense attached to it is something that I don't really want to do. If you have any recommendations for yarn advents, I'd love to take a look at them, but I don't think that that's a great idea budget-wise for me at the moment. However, in lieu of that for next year, I think I want to save some of my scrap yarn from projects, like anything where I can get like a little ball of it left, and put it in the drawers from my candle advent calendar from this year. So use the box and everything and just refill it with scrap yarn that I can plan out in advance and maybe do some sort of a project. I was thinking about doing an e-reader cover with all of my scrap yarn. I think that would be very fun. And kind of like make a DIY yarn advent instead of buying one. Or if I do end up buying one in addition to buying one and not getting multiples. There are a lot of yarn YouTubers that I follow who got multiple yarn advents this year, and I'm very curious how that worked budget-wise because I can't imagine spending that much on yarn. Although I guess they don't use it all right away because it would be too much, so maybe that's just their yarn supply for a big chunk of the year, but that seemed crazy to me. Obviously, like, if like you're up there in terms of like content creation, making money, like that's a great way to do it because you're showing off indie dyers and stuff like that and making money off of the videos, but that is just so not in my budget range at the moment. So definitely not something that I think I will be doing anytime soon unless some like really special advent calendar comes out. But I did like having something to open on camera, and I was glad that I found the candle advent calendar at Aldi because I didn't really want to do chocolate. There's enough like sweets and treats that come up during the advent season that I didn't really want to add to that. And I also didn't want to do an alcohol one this year just because I knew I was teaching full-time, and that wasn't something that I really wanted to do again, although I did have a ton of fun with it last year. It just wasn't something that I felt like I needed to repeat. But I liked the candle one because it was still something that would get used up. It wasn't like a trinket that I had to figure out what to do with. And it was something that I would actually use. So definitely the candles as an advent calendar was a big hit in my book. Some other things I think that I would want to do differently next year are to pick a project that I can do a little bit every day to show the progress a little bit more consistently. I kind of tried to do that this year with the dice bags, but I finished them faster than I thought I would, and I kept doing them like when I had time away from the people who were receiving them. So that didn't work out the way I thought it was going to. I also thought that some of my projects would take longer than they actually did, and some wouldn't take as long as they actually did. So like my Christmas socks, I was fully expecting to finish like on Christmas. And I ended up doing the Christmas socks and a pair of mittens. But like crochet projects, especially the gargoyle that I'm still working on, took a lot longer than I thought they were going to, and therefore I got frustrated and didn't feel like working on it. So that is definitely going to be a change for next year. I would love to do some sort of a stripey project, especially if I make that scrappy advent calendar, and just have something where I can show progress a little bit more. But yeah, I still really enjoyed doing Vlogmas. I do genuinely like filming, but I definitely got to a point of feeling a little burnt out. So I'm sorry if that came across a little too strongly for some of you. I was just trying to get through it towards the end. But I am still really glad I did it. I think I'll have fun looking back on these videos in the future. And I hope that you got something out of them, especially the tutorial videos if you were making any last minute gifts. Or some of the ones where I was making gifts for people and they gave you ideas for what to make. I hope you still enjoyed seeing it. And I have lots of fun content planned for 2024. I have actually planned out almost the whole year of content for 2024. Within reason, of course. Like, it's not something where I feel like I need to get to every single project on my list, but I definitely have a lot of fun things planned for the coming year. So I'm excited to dive into those after January 1st, or maybe even a little before January 1st, since I'll be home for a while for Christmas break. But that will have to be saved for another episode. Speaking of which, I know I typically release on Fridays and Wednesdays on this channel, but we will be taking a break until the first Wednesday in January, which is the 3rd. So you won't see any videos from me between now and then, but I figured a break was needed, clearly. So you won't see any videos from me after Christmas and before New Year's, but we'll be back on January 3rd with a podcast episode. So that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed all of our Vlogmas episodes. If you'd like to get more content from this channel, make sure that you hit the subscribe button down below so that you can be notified of all my crafty content right here on YouTube. And if you want to follow me on other social media, that information will be in the description box below as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a very Merry Christmas, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.